Let's cut right to the chase. In this explainer, we're breaking down the exact, mathematically guaranteed, science-backed framework for revealing your abs in 60 days. Seriously, we are leaving all that fitness industry hype at the door today. Instead, we're just going to zero in on the pure anatomical facts and the undeniable mathematical reality. The goal here? To take all that confusing fitness noise and turn it into crystal clear, actionable science.
So let's dive straight in and answer the ultimate question, right? What does it genuinely take to finally see that six-pack, totally regardless of whatever genetic hand you were dealt? Because look, while you absolutely cannot change the biological structure or the actual shape of your abdominal muscles, you 100% can control how they pop. And getting them to pop, well, that requires a really precise combination of optimal training, nutritional math, and targeted supplementation.
Okay, moving into our first section, the reality check, focusing on the six-pack sweet spot. Before we even think about touching a single weight, we need to establish a reality baseline.
Basically, if you're sitting at 50% body fat, your midsection is completely covered. Down to 40%, your waistline definitely shrinks, but those abs are still buried. Even at 30%, your stomach flattens out a ton, but yeah, still no visible abs. It literally isn't until you hit a very specific threshold that the magic happens. And for guys, that magic number is between 10 and 20% body fat. That is the ultimate sweet spot. At 20%, you'll start seeing the outline. And as you push closer to 10%, assuming you've actually trained them, bam, you've got a well-defined six-pack. This zone is exactly where most guys want to be. Going lower, like that extreme 6% pro bodybuilder range, that just brings on the nasty side effects. You know, crashed energy, extreme hunger, and zero libido. No thanks.
Now, this brings us to a really fascinating biological contrast between men and women. For women to achieve that exact same visible, shredded core definition, they hit their sweet spot at a slightly higher body fat percentage, specifically right around the 18 to 28% range. The internal biological mechanisms are totally different, but the aesthetic outcome in these respective sweet spots, it's identical.
All right, now that we know the target, let's jump into Pillar 1, science-based ab training.
So this is how we actually build that abdominal muscle tissue so it's ready to pop with some serious contrast when you lean down. And right off the bat, we need to aggressively debunk a massive influencer myth. I'm sure you've heard it. Oh, don't train your abs, you won't see them until you're lean anyway. I mean, imagine applying that logic to literally any other body part. It's like saying, hey, don't train your shoulders because you won't see the striations until you lose weight. It's total nonsense. Skipping core work or just doing those fast-paced, high-intensity cardio circuits, that won't stimulate the meaningful hypertrophy you actually need. Those circuits might burn a few calories, sure, but they absolutely do not build a six-pack.
So what does work? Well, to hit your full six-pack, you literally only need two specific movements, loaded with progressive weight. First up, the loaded crunch. You can use a cable machine or just hold a weight plate to your chest. The absolute key here is allowing your lower back to round, crunching down super hard on the abs without just yanking the weight with your arms. Now this hits the whole six-pack, but it heavily biases the upper four-pack. So to target those tricky lower abs, you just pair it with leg raises. Ideally, you do these on a Roman chair to lock in your lower back or just hanging from a pull-up bar.
But to actually force growth, you gotta treat your abs exactly like any other muscle group. The progressive overload protocol here is crystal clear. You're doing 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps for those crunches and 10 to 20 reps for the leg raises, just twice a week. But listen closely, because here is the absolute most critical part. You must take the last set to absolute failure. I mean, pushing until you physically cannot complete another full repetition, no matter how hard you try. And then you're adding weight or reps every single week. Look, planks and anti-rotation stuff, they're fine for stability, for sure. But for a highly visible six-pack, this progressive overload protocol is your absolute engine.
Okay, moving right along to Pillar 2, the fat loss nutrition formula.
Because look, you could do the most optimal science-backed ab training on the planet, but your abs will stay entirely buried until you nailed this nutritional math. And this formula right here, this is your mathematically guaranteed roadmap to a caloric deficit. If you just calculate these two numbers, your fat loss honestly becomes a simple, scientific inevitability. First, take your current body weight in pounds and multiply it by 10 to 12. Boom, that's your daily calorie target. Next, take your goal body weight in pounds and multiply that by 0.8 to 1.0. And there's your daily protein target in grams. It really, truly is that straightforward. So once you've crunched those numbers, you lock in that protein target first. Then you secure a mandatory baseline of at least 50 grams of dietary fat per day. That 50 grams is absolutely essential for keeping your hormones healthy while you're dieting. And everything else left over in your daily calorie allowance, those are totally free calories. You can fill them up with carbs, some extra fats, or even more protein, whatever you prefer.
Which brings us to what we like to call the Pop-Tart reality. Get this, there is actually a documented case of a natural bodybuilder who successfully hit a completely shredded 6.2% body fat, verified by a DEXA scan no less, while eating Pop-Tarts on the regular. How is that even possible? Well, because he flawlessly nailed his mathematical macro targets. Now, having said that, while these specific types of foods you eat matter a little less for strict weight loss than just hitting your numbers, your daily energy, your training intensity, and your recovery, they will be vastly superior if you prioritize minimally processed, nutritious, whole foods most of the time. That's what actually fuels premium performance.
Now, I need you to pay really close attention to these crucial fat loss execution rules, because this is where almost everyone fails. First, you want to target a sustainable loss of about 0.5% to 1% of your body weight per week. Second, if you have a lot of fat to lose and you've been cutting for more than 3 months, you've got to implement a 2 to 3 week diet break. You just multiply your current body weight by 16 to 18 to find your maintenance calories, and that helps reset your metabolism. Third, and this is massive, do not rely solely on the body weight scale. It will mislead you. If you're building muscle while losing fat, that scale might not even budge. Instead, take monthly photos in the exact same lighting and track your waist measurements. Honestly, quitting because the scale stalled is the #1 reason people give up before they ever see their abs.
All right, let's head into our final phase. Pillar 3, supplements that actually work. We're cutting right through all the flashy marketing and industry garbage to focus on the only 3 supplements backed by rigorous science that are actually worth your hard-earned cash. First up is protein powder. Look, a protein shake isn't magic, and despite what old gym bros might tell you, there's no hyper-strict, time-sensitive anabolic window where you're going to lose all your gains if you don't chug a shake the literal second you drop a dumbbell. But grabbing a 30 to 50 gram post-workout dose is just the most efficient, convenient way to instantly knock out a massive chunk of that daily protein requirement we calculated earlier.
Next up on the list, and this one is backed by literally decades of peer-reviewed research, you should be taking exactly 5 grams of creatine monohydrate every single day. You don't need to cycle on and off it, and honestly, it doesn't even matter what time of day you take it. It's simply one of the only legal, genuinely safe supplements proven to give you a meaningful boost in both strength and muscle mass. Now, a quick heads up, about 25% of people are non-responders, so you'll have to test it out for yourself. But for the vast majority, it is incredibly effective and won't cause any weird bloating. Finally, we've got caffeine. Whether you're getting it through a pre-workout powder, a strong cup of coffee, or a tablet, a targeted dose of caffeine actually provides a slight thermogenic effect, which just means you'll burn a few extra calories. But the real, science-backed value here is the intense focus and alertness it gives you. That's what allows you to push those brutal ab workouts all the way to total mechanical failure. Just make sure you cycle off it occasionally for a couple of weeks every few months. That resets your body's tolerance so it still gives you that powerful kick right when you need it most.
So, there you have it. We've laid out the exact science. We've handed over the precise nutritional math and the ultimate training stimulus. Literally, every single tool required for a 60-day visible ab transformation is sitting right there in your hands. The formula is scientifically guaranteed. The math, it absolutely won't fail you. But, the math also isn't going to go to the gym and lift the weights for you. The only variable left in this equation is you. So the question is, are you ready to do the work and start the clock?